So, if you've been on my channel for more than 2 minutes, you'd know that I love the PvZ franchise. Like, I love the PvZ franchise. Something about it just rings a bell to me, and me and many others really do enjoy this franchise. It goes from tower defense to shooter games to games dedicated only to Facebook. Something about it is just really cool. But ever since EA bought PopCap, the creators of the PvZ franchise, it's just been different. You know, the original PvZ was $5 and you could get every character for free. However, after that game hit top-selling 10 million sales, on July 12th, 2011, EA bought PopCap for $650 million. It was a sad day, because everyone knows how EA is. Microtransactions left and right, anything you think of that involves money, EA already did that. Now, there are some cool things that EA has done, like turn the tower defense game into a shooter game, and 3 shooter games actually, but that's really the only thing they've done. And all I want to do in this video is take a review of the entire PvZ franchise, from tower defense to shooter to Facebook games. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this hour-long documentary, and let's get into it. So, on May 5th, 2009, the first ever Plants vs. Zombies came out public. It was obviously a tower defense game featuring 49 plants. All of these plants had different uses, like the sunflower all the way to the jalapeno. All of them were different and unique. And I think what made PvZ 1 such a hit is that it was cheap and fun to play. You unlocked all the characters within a week of playing. There were different stages like day, night, on the roof, in the backyard. This game's simple, but fun. Now, not much happened during the time of PvZ 1, but as I said in the beginning, July 12th, 2011 was the day it all changed. EA purchased PopCap. They didn't make any initial changes to the first game, but of course they had to make a game, so they made Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time. Now, Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time starts off really normal. You know, you're in the backyard, Crazy Dave has a fucking time machine for some reason, and he wants to eat another taco that he just ate. So he goes back in time to get that taco, and you go a little too far back to ancient Egypt, fight off some zombies, and then you go to the menu. The menu is where you see everything, obviously. First plant you get is, I'm pretty sure, the cabbage pult, which is free. And once you get into higher levels, you can unlock other plants. Now here's my problem and many others' problem. The microtransactions. I am not kidding you when I'm saying if you don't have money to spend, you are not passing in this game. The amount of money you have to spend to buy every single plant and upgrade is insane. I think it's over $100 for a tower defense game. It's just kind of crazy to me how much EA can milk out of people. And they actually got a pretty good amount of money from this as well. So, the reason why Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time, is not as good as Plants vs. Zombies the original is obviously because of the pay-to-win factor. As I said, if you do not have money, you are not making it past the third world. Now, these two games were not the big issue of the downfall of Plants vs. Zombies. The games I'm about to cover were the biggest factors in the downfall. So here we are. February 25th, 2014, Garden Warfare 1 was released, and the start of the PvZ shooter genre. Pretty good game, 8 playable classes, 12 different maps, and a lot of fun. There were no main issues with this game, but there was one thing that made the game unplayable to a certain extent. The popularity of the game. When it first came out, the game was a major hit, but around mid-2015, the game started dying off, and for a good reason. EA didn't fix any bugs or add anything new. The replayability was just not there. It was just the same game every day. Yeah, sure, you could go for max rank, which is earned by leveling up every character, but what happens when you finish that? Garden Warfare to this day is still fun, but this game, again like PvZ 1 and 2, didn't contribute to a big part in the downfall. However, the sequel did. Just like the first Garden Warfare game, I'll tell you the history, then get into detail of what went wrong. On February 23rd, 2016, Garden Warfare 2 would be released to the public on the PS4, Xbox One, and Origin on Windows and Mac. With 16 playable classes with the new characters as Rose, Corn, and Citron for the Plants team, and Imp, Pirate, and Super Brains for the Zombies team. This game was even more of a blow-up than its prequel. Almost the same as Garden Warfare 1, Garden Warfare 2 died off almost exactly a year and a half after its initial release date. Here are the reasons. Number 1. Very poor game design. The graphics are okay, but the game itself, well, it could use some major improvements. For one, the glitches. I have made many videos on glitches in the past on this game. There are a lot of glitches. Just look up Garden Warfare 2 glitches. There are flying ones, invincibility ones, invisibility ones, and so on. These glitches were found way before EA decided to stop updating the game, which was mid-2019, so they had a big time span to fix these. But again, EA being the awful company they are, didn't do anything to improve this big issue. Glitches were and are being abused in the multiplayer lobbies that still exist to this day. It just isn't fun to play. I feel if they were to continue small updates here and there, that Garden Warfare 1 and 2 could have been amazing still to this day. Number 2. Terrible cosmetics. In the first game, Garden Warfare 1, the cosmetics were incredible. You have neon red weapon skins, all the way to funky hats, and a lot more to mix the matches up. But ever since Garden Warfare 2 was released, people have been complaining that they didn't do nearly enough effort to match the amazingness of the first game's accessories. You have crappy hats that make the game feel like it was free, the weapon skins aren't unique, and some of them even look extremely similar. Now I understand EA made the sequel in only 2 years, but that alone is a very short time to be producing another game. It's just like, right after Garden Warfare was released, they dropped it all and started on the second game. They could have at least transferred most of the items to the sequel. And number 3, copy and pasting. I know I just said that they should have added some cosmetics from the first game to the second, but that was because the second game's items are god-awful. I cannot stand to look at the accessories. EA has copy and pasted many times in the second game, and the second game mainly. Sometimes it is nice having the same sounds and maps, but other times, they went too far. A perfect example of this is the maps. One map in particular, Sandy Shores. This map is ancient Egypt themed, with a giant mummy zombie on the top. You will see sandstone blocks and pillars all around the map. I think there are about 20 sandstone blocks, and maybe 10 pillars. Now there are more examples out there of copy and pasting, but that's for another story. Now, let's get back into the history and what is new. Instead of the menu, you get the backyard battleground. Your creativity can be shown around your backyard battleground by unlocking and using statues and upgrading characters. There are 2 sides to the backyard battleground, the plant side and the zombie side. In the back of these bases, there are 3 magic orbs you can use to do challenges and missions for the new classes. There's also a main and side quest, like Crazy Dave quests, which are the main quests, to burger and pizza delivery. Doing all these quests will unlock a new and exciting game mode, Infinity Time. Infinity Time is much like Garden Ops, where you have to defend yourself as well as time pillars. You play as either a robot dinosaur for the plants team, or a robot cat for the zombies team. Neither is different. You fight intergalactic gnomes, and every 5 waves a gnome king will spawn. You must defeat the gnome king and collect shards. It goes on endlessly, and if you collect 25,000 shards by the time you die, you have a chance of being rewarded with a special character sticker. You can also visit Trials of Gnomus, where you must do 4 difficult challenges such as the Trial of Hot Stuff, the Trial of Recollection, the Trial of Shooty Shooty, and the Trial of Balance. After you finish all 4 trials and figured out the Morse code, you fight Rainbow King Gnomus. Defeat him to unlock 2 chests which require 75 rainbow stars to open. Acquire rainbow stars by playing in the monthly Town Hall event found in the backyard battleground. Once you have 150 rainbow stars, 75 for each chest, you unlock a new class for both sides. For the plant side, Torchwood. A fire-breathing menace that can become an enraged piece of bark that will shred through anything in his path. For zombie side, Hovergo 3000. A futuristic goat on a hoverboard with strengthening powers for his teammates and a giant laser beam to take out enemies. Now that you know all about Garden Warfare 2, hopefully you understand what EA had created. The game was insanely fun and for good reasoning. But again, they decided they didn't want to update the game anymore, so they left development and went out to make a third and most likely a final Plants vs. Zombies shooter game.
Since the dawn of time, war has raged between the plants and the zombies. You must be...
Yeah, we get it.
Good old Neighborville. With a catchy theme song and not so catchy gameplay, this game is a fucking disaster. On one hand, you have an amazing shooter game which already has a dedicated fan base and generally a fun game. Then this? Oh my god. The amount of times I vomited after playing this game is a lot. The game is riddled with bugs, terrible graphics, and non-dedicated developers. Seriously, EA cancelled updates on the game before it even reached a year old! Firstly, this game is absolute dog shit when it comes to PvP. When I first started playing back on release day September 4th, 2019, I puked all over my TV screen. And the amount of button delay is insane. The sensitivity is so hard to get used to and the new classes are so overpowered. It's so reliant on ability spamming. The classes are Acorn, Snapdragon, and Nightcap for the Plants team, and 80s Action Hero, Electric Slide, and Space Cadet for zombies. The special thing that EA added to this game is that there's a new way to team up with friends and a new way to battle foes. Play as Acorn on Plants team to become a trashy rip-off Torchwood with up to 3 Acorns cheesing the game, or Space Cadet, becoming NASA and turning into an orbital station with up to 3 friends shooting missiles and making people break their consoles. There are 2 more game modes. Battle Arena, which was taken out of the game, and some weird dancing mode that I kind of enjoy with friends. There are also story modes relative to all 3 shooter games, but those are not really important. There's really not much else to say about Battle for Neighborville other than it sucks. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, here are the last 3 Plants vs. Zombies games. Note that these 3 are not being talked about in order of when they came out. Plants vs. Zombies Heroes. For a mobile game, I think we can all say this game is a lot of fun. Coming out in late 2016, less than a year after Garden Warfare 2 came out, everyone loved it. With 11 heroes for both sides, and 5 different plants and zombie classes, each having their own, this game required a little bit of skill and a little bit of pay to win. There's an online mode which is actually still active to this day, and a story mode. Complete 200 levels for each team's story mode to unlock gems and other rewards. Use gems to open packs like the Premium Pack and the Triassic Pack. Each pack costed 100 gems and had a chance of giving you a hero. Usually, the packs would give commons, rares, sometimes super rares, and very scarcely a legendary. Each character can be unlocked 4 times with you being able to put 4 of the same character in a deck. It is super hard to unlock every character to use, but that didn't make the game unplayable. Right as you finish the tutorial, you could play online where you can unlock a ton of gems and at the end of each season, get rewarded for how well you played. As always, PvZ Heroes stopped getting updates pretty fast, but the game is still a lot of fun to play, and in my 3 years of playing, I still do not have every character. Out of all these games, I really encourage you to play this one because it's totally free to play and it's a ton of fun. I won't go into much detail about this game because there's way too much to talk about and that wouldn't serve a purpose in the series review. And now on to the next game, Plants vs. Zombies Adventures. Plants vs. Zombies Adventures was released on May 20th, 2013 as an exclusive game to Facebook. I don't know anything about this game, so I can't really give an amazing opinion on it, but from what I've heard and seen about it, it was decent. It was a 2D game with 3D visuals that was just like the regular PvZ. You collected sun and placed plants to defend your lawn, pretty basic. That was the whole game from what I researched, and the reason I'm saying it was a decent game was because like basically every other PvZ game, this game was shut down on October 12th, 2014. Now, on to the final PvZ game that came out. Plants vs. Zombies 3. The biggest abomination ever. This game is worse than Battle for Neighborville. Right as the game released, for the first time in Plants vs. Zombies history, this game got hated on tremendously. The graphics were way too different, the gameplay was switched up, and now you generated sun instead of collecting it. And it was way too much of a switch up to be called a PvZ game. Nobody liked this game. Literally not even 8 months after the release, game development was abandoned. There were barely any updates throughout the game's lifetime. This is the newest PvZ game and it's sad. The way that EA butchered PopCap in PvZ itself is really sad. I don't want to talk about the game. The reviews and cancellation before 8 months should speak for itself. And with that being said, this is the ending. All of this begs the question, what caused EA to become like this and ruin a whole franchise and disappoint an entire fanbase? Sadly, we will always know the answer, but we will never get the old PvZ back. Thank you guys so much for watching, and it would mean a ton if you guys could leave a like on the video and even subscribe. I put a ton of work into this, over 10 hours of work into this. Obviously, you might think it's good, you might think it's not. It's my first video of this type, so please don't hate, and I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And until next time, this is Noah, signing off.